So, let's talk predictions for this big Bethesda showcase they've got going up. So the biggest one I've seen so far is people are wondering, are we getting our Fallout 5 announcement? And I feel like Fallout 4 was already announced, or Fallout 5. You know, it's weird. I remember Fallout 4's launch and hype so distinctly. It's actually kind of strange now to think we're getting potentially Fallout 5 announcements. But I think if we get anything, it'll be like the Elder Scrolls 6 one, where it's just, look, here's a title sequence. We're working on this. It won't be anything fun or fancy. We won't get any details on the setting or anything. I think it will just be, by the way, it's been worked on. That's it. Unless they've contracted a secondary company to make a game for them, because usually the way Bethesda games work is they don't want to have, like, they've got a schedule they put these out on. That's why Fallout New Vegas was developed in such a short period of time back in the day, because they just finished up Fallout 3's DLC, and they were like, shit, there's a big period of time here where there is no game between Fallout 3 and Skyrim, we need to fill this up. So they got Obsidian, like, hey, make this, like, as fast as you fucking possibly can. And we'll give you some money, go on, come on. That's the only way I could see us getting any sort of Fallout game soon enough, but I don't really know if Bethesda would want to run another game concurrently with Fallout 76, because they might sort of like nip into each other's markets a little bit. I don't know if you'd want to be playing 76 and Fallout 4.5 concurrently, because that would be a little bit weird. However, there is the small chance that they have done this, and they might have done this because, like, you want to sort of get people into that sort of Bethesda spirit of, like, what a single-player game is. So they might take the risk of doing a smaller one. But then we'd have to ask the question, okay, who's making this? Because depending on the studio making this, we could be up for, like, a really, really good Fallout game, or maybe the biggest trash fire in the series history, which is a complete coin toss. I don't know how that will go down. The other alternative, I remember a few years, there was like, I don't remember whether it was a rumor or like it was confirmed, but there was a trademark put in for New Vegas 2. And I know Obsidian and Bethesda are both under the Microsoft banner at the moment, so there is a small itty bitty chance that we could be getting New Vegas 2. I'm not going to bet money on that, though. That sounds, A, too good to be true. B, I know a lot of the team that worked on New Vegas are, like, they don't work at Obsidian anymore. A lot of those guys have left. They've moved on to greener pastures. And Outer Worlds didn't give me the best confidence that we would ever get a New Vegas 2 of the same quality from Obsidian. You know, because Outer Worlds really did make me question if Obsidian could even do a good Fallout New Vegas sequel anymore. Because the thing I love about New Vegas is how sort of, like, grey everything is. There's no black and white to the morality a lot of the time, you know, except maybe the Legion a little bit there. Usually considered pretty bad. But when I was looking into Outer World content, and the first, like, mission is, do you want to help the corporation, or do you want to destroy the corporation? I was just really disappointed, because I was just sort of like, no, I want, like, a good moral choice, not do I suck off Trump or not, you know what I mean? So even if they did announce some sort of New Vegas 2 or a sequel game made by a different company, I would be slightly skeptical, but who knows, maybe it could be the best thing ever. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I think it's unlikely that we'll get anything substantial, but if Todd comes out on stage, opens his trench coat, and shows us, here's Fallout 5, it's coming out next week, come on boys, you know, you could all come back here and call me an idiot, please, it'd be funny. Another rumor I've heard that I think is interesting, but I'm also skeptical of, is that they might be doing a Fallout 3 remake, because that was leaked for, like, a while ago, but, like, I am really skeptical of leaks because I find half the time they're like stupid accurate to the point where it was like, okay, this is weird. And the other half, it's like, okay, that was just some guy making something up on 4chan. I'm not sure if any of you guys remember that, what was it, Survivor 441 or something? Or like, they made this Vault-Tec themed countdown back in like 2012, 2013. And I remember, that was like one of the most hype moments in like community history. Because I remember going to college and talking to people about that and being like, oh my god, we might be getting Fallout 4. And then in the end, it turned out just to be a hoax in the end. And Bethesda actually leaked a part of Fallout 4's development documents just to be like, well, we felt bad because everyone got all hyped for this and it turned out to be nothing, but we don't want to preemptively announce Fallout 4. And the document they showed, eventually it turned out to be legit because it had a picture of the sole survivor on the front in the new jumpsuit with the new design for the 10mm pistol. And it talked about the cryonics stuff. So it's completely hit or miss whether leaks can be accurate sometimes. I remember when the Switch was announced and everyone was like, no, that's not true. The NX is not a real thing. No way they're gonna make a console that's half handheld, half, like, home system. And then it was, and I felt like I had egg on my face. So I realized I said when the Switch was announced, not when it was leaked. But what I mean is it was leaked. Now, I've been talking for so long, I've forgotten whether I said what was actually leaked. But it was announced in one of these leaks that, like, they were working on a Fallout 3 remake. And I am completely skeptical about this, because Todd has said in the past that he doesn't believe you should be remaking games. He believes games should be played the way they were originally intended to be played, which is an interesting idea. However, I'm not so sure I like this philosophy because I feel like a lot of games have really good elements that you'd like to maybe take up and clean up, you know? Sort of like when they did Wind Waker and they cleaned up like half the elements of it, but left some of the other elements that like, maybe we should have got rid of those in there. Because Fallout 3, bless its little cotton socks, it hasn't aged well. You know, I really hate, whenever I go back to Fallout 3, I'm like, why can't I aim down the sights? Who did this? Whose idea was it that like, okay, we're gonna have this feature that's in every first-person shooter game and just not allow it? Because I get they wanted to go for this thing where it's like, oh, it's a difference in what you can do and your character can do. Sure, but it's just annoying when you're trying to like aim at something and your character just, you hold like right click and your character just like leans their neck forward slightly, and it's like, yeah, I'd like to not have to install a mod to, you know, be able to use my gun properly whenever I play Fallout 3, even though whenever I play Fallout 3, I usually play it through Tale of Two Wastelands, but that's a whole other thing. But also, I wonder if they'd be cheap enough to not get Liam Neeson's lines relicensed, because I know they have to do that, because he's like a lot bigger of a celebrity than he was back then, to my knowledge, but who knows. But other questions I'd like to ask is if they were going to remake Fallout 3, would they want to remake it on the new engine feeling like Fallout 4, or would it be the same game effectively, but like with a new prettier lighting engine? Because that's like a whole thing. You'd have to go relight the entire game, and that's a lot of decisions to like make on someone, you know what I mean? I'm drawing a blank and I can't remember it off the top of my head. Maybe someone can tell me in the comments, but there was a game that it got remade and they like redid all the lighting, but everyone said the lighting in the new one looks like ass and ruins the atmosphere of the original. Maybe I'm thinking of the Silent Hill remake where they removed all the fog and it was no longer spooky. That's the sort of situation I'd be wondering if that would happen with Fallout 3, because you'd have to change a lot about the way the game looks if you wanted to incorporate like an actual decent lighting system into it, so I don't know how that would look. That'd be really strange. Either way, I think it would be for the best if they just updated the original games and just made them more functional at this rate, because I feel like remaking the whole game is, you know, a bit pointless, because these games are quite readily available, and it's not like they're that old that they really need to be touched up, because yeah, all the people in there look like they're made out of Play-Doh and they look quite strange, but at the same time, they don't look that strange that like, I need to like get that changed. In my mind, I think the best thing to do would just be to update the game so that you can have actual decent ray tracing in them, because that would do a lot for the way these games look and wouldn't require you to basically remake the game from scratch, because it's the Gamebryo engine. Everything's going to fall apart if you try to like remake it wrong. So we don't want like another New Vegas at launch situation. It was funny. I was looking underneath one of the Instagram posts they put up about it, and they were saying, oh, if they're going to do a Fallout 3 remake, maybe they should do a Fallout New Vegas remake instead. And people were saying, oh, they wouldn't remake the one that everyone says is the best one that they didn't make. But at the same time, I'm sort of just like, well, they're set in season 2 of the show in New Vegas, so they actually have a lot of incentive to get New Vegas more into the public eye, because they want people to know, oh, that's the Lucky 38, I know what that is. Oh, look, that's the Tops. That's where, what's his name, the Ghoul's family is hidden under. Ooh, spooky. Like, they'd need that sort of recognizability. I think it'd be really helpful for them, because now that I'm thinking about, now that I've said that, I've gone through this whole thing saying, yeah, I don't think it's going to be, like, likely this will happen. But now that I'm thinking about this, I'm like, yeah, you know, they actually do have quite a lot of incentive to remake New Vegas, so you'd think they'd want to, because I'm sure in this showcase they're going to talk about the TV show. And if you're going to talk about season 2 of the TV show, you need to bring up New Vegas, because it's kind of the setting. I wonder if they actually did a remake of New Vegas, would they add references to the show in there? Like, they'll have newspaper articles all around being like, oh, Shady Sands is on the decline. Oh no, we got nuked, what are we going to do? There'll be a door underneath the Tops that says, totally not cryopods in here, don't look any further, inaccessible. But speaking of which, I'm sure we are going to get some sort of news on Fallout Season 2. I can't say whether it be anything substantial, but I'm sure they'd want to acknowledge it in some way, because I don't really know what they've got going on for Fallout besides this, because I think the TV show is kind of the biggest thing in Fallout at the moment, because the amount of people I've talked to have watched the show, but never touched any of the games, has been quite interesting hearing these outsider opinions. The effects of the Fallout show on the franchise going forward is a topic for another day, but I feel like if they're going to do a Fallout live stream, they're going to want to acknowledge it in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just for merch. Speaking of which, one of the only few things I can think they would announce would be merch during this, because realistically, they don't have many games to announce at the moment, so unless it's something super hidden, I reckon we're just going to hear about some new Fallout merch they've got coming out, besides 76 stuff, because this is the thing I don't really like have much to say about, because I'm not a huge fan of 76. I don't really like a lot of the updates to this game, so I reckon if they don't announce anything new, it's going to be majoritively 76 updates, which I don't really have much to say about at all. People swear up and down in my comment section that 76 has gotten really good now, but I heard they had an update fairly recently where the boss kept spawning in the floor, and I was like, oh, Bethesda, never change. Member shoutouts, thank you to Brandon Ferretti, Irrational Sloth, Gams, Tucket Flame, Johannes, Throne One, Gamera, Tommy the Cockroach, Jacqueline, The Man Who Sold the World, Stephen the King, Makov, Vinite, Wilkins Coffee, and Toilet Egg McMuffin.